We have Lucie Rosecka on the bunker today. Lucie is an art therapist, English teacher, yoga teacher, a mixed bag, and that's kind of how her life has always been. She has hitched a ride through her life in some way and just gone wherever it takes her. Born in the Czech Republic during communism, not a lot of options. The first thing she did when she could was to go away, took a bus to England. Was going to be away for a year, stayed away for 17 years with a lot of adventures, was a go-go dancer in some of the biggest nightclubs around Europe. She lived in a lesbian relationship for 8 years, then went back to being with men, and has a very tricky and challenging relationship with her twin sister and her mother. She has a lot of different things. She had medical issues that had a major impact on her life when she is around 25. And then after staying away for 17 years, and she gets back to the Czech Republic, to Prague, and tells us a little bit about how it was to come back to the place that she left so young. I mean, obviously the Czech Republic in those 17 years that she was away probably went through the biggest changes that the country ever will go through. Due to the fall of communism. It was a nice talk. I hope you guys enjoy. A little bit about the sponsors. That's Alfred Jobs, alfred.cz, available in Czech, English and Slovak. Also in the App Store, Alfred Jobs. And with both the app and the web, you can set up a profile and a job watch that enables you to monitor the jobs that you're interested in, so you don't have to browse through thousands of not relevant, I don't know how to say irrelevant. Not relevant jobs. You just get what you actually are interested in, and then you can apply with one click. Super convenient, so you don't have to be filling in those boring forms all the time. And Alfred is in Iceland also, for those listening there. Obviously, I think most of you know, because Alfred has been there in the market for 7 or 8 years, and everybody knows who Alfred is. But I'm still talking to people who haven't tried it and are surprised when they find out how cool it is and how convenient it is to use. And then it's the Oat Bar. Amazing place, has the highest rating of all restaurants in Prague on all the delivery services, Bolt, and that's for a reason. The food is great, the ingredients are clean, the service is amazing, and the atmosphere is nice. And I can promise you that oatmeals and skyrs like the ones that they serve at the Oat Bar, you have never tried in your life. They also make some handmade goodies, salted peanut butter bar, which is a healthy Snickers, great coffee, good juices, and yeah, there is a reason why people love the Oat Bar. You just have to try it out for yourself to see. Enjoy the show. Welcome, Lucie Rosecka, to my bunker. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm very well, thank you.
Happy to be in the bunker.
Oh, I've always wanted to come on your bunker.
Yeah, but you didn't come on time.
Okay, yes.
You've never been anywhere on... I don't think you ever been anywhere
on time.
No, don't think you ever been on time here.
It's my specialty, never come on time.
Yeah, what? So, we are here today to talk about kind of your life journey, because it's, for me, it's interesting. We know each other for a few years, and we have mutual friends, and we apparently matched on Tinder, and I refused you. That's what you claim.
Refused by did you have a fake name?
No,
you were Almar. Yes,
I would never
Almar.
fake. I would never fake anything.
But okay.
So it's interesting. You come from a background during communism. You run away from this. You have a twin sister and a special relationship to the women in your family, and then you had a relationship with a woman, living with a woman for 8 years abroad. You had some medical issues, and there's a lot of different things. But what are you? I mean, if what are you doing today? I mean, Who is Lucie now?
Right now, at this moment, I am an English teacher. I'm a yogi. I'm a art therapist. I found a new professional path with social work with mentally disabled people, and I hope there's many more things to come. This is just now, this moment. So
yeah, and
let's see.
if there is one thing that you could mention that you don't like about yourself, what would that be?
My voice.
Great.
And my squeaky nose.
Yeah, we actually we recorded a few minutes before and we had to delete it because there were some nose sounds coming
and
on.
I hate it because I can't hear it, and there are only few people talking about my family. So, for example, my family have the courage to tell me, your nose is making the strange noise again. And so, obviously, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Your nose isn't very podcast friendly.
Yeah. That's when I know that the relationship has gone to the new level. It's like, okay, you can tell me my he's not too scared to tell me my nose is making strange noises. Okay, let's get professional.
Yeah, very professional. So Lucie, where did it all start? Where were you born and when, roughly?
So I come from Brno.
That's the second biggest city of Czech Republic, right?
Yeah, very important to point out. Yes, the second biggest, and the proud Brno originated.
Yeah,
from Panelag.
Panelag is a communist constructed massive building that hosted all the people from all floors of life, right?
Yes, it's a very special Czech thing, but very different. For example, you could compare it, and it's officially translated as the council estate, which in the UK, council estate is somewhere where you put all the low class together. And Czech Panelag is a mix of all the classes together, where it's the communist idea for all classes to live happily together in one Panelag. So this was my surroundings as I was growing up.
In the US, they would call it the projects or something like this. If you see like a gang movie, then yeah, I'm from the projects. But the Panelags, just for those who are not familiar with this, those are typically very tall buildings with a lot of small apartments. Some of them very strange layouts. You know, you might have to go through the kitchen to get to the bathroom, or through the bathroom to get to the bedroom, or whatever. And it's not like a cool walk-in closet or something. It's a strange. Thin walls. And
the bathroom is built out of cardboard.
Yeah. So you hear everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Parents?
My parents had met on a skiing holiday weekend. My father, architect. My mom, a nurse, daughter of a very pedantic doctor, coming from a doctor family. And they must have had a pretty amazing weekend together, because on following up a few letters, probably a few meetings, they decided to marry each other. And and that had me and my sisters, and stayed 20 years married in a loveless marriage. So I don't know if this is the pattern that or what people used to do in the 70s, 80s, build a marriage on not knowing each other properly. But this is how it was in my family.
But I think it's very much a product of the times. I mean, I've met very few people here in this country that have parents that have stayed married the whole time. It seems to be that people are supposed to follow a certain path, right?
Yes. It's obviously they didn't do that wasn't the right thinking then. But I suppose there was no internet, there was no, there were no dating apps. It was still the mentality of he's really good one. Don't let him slip your fingers, or it could be some. And on paper, they'd be perfect together, because this is the doctor's doctor's daughter and architect, that's aspiring architect, because he was very young then. He's 4 years younger than my mother. So she probably, before even getting to know him, she already had massive expectations from him, because that's what it said on the paper. In true life, my father is a Forrest Trump. He loves his camping. He loves
Forrest Gump.
not Forrest Gump.
Is he Forrest Trump?
No, he's.
These are not the same people.
Not even Trump. He's a Trump that goes to the forest, I'm trying to say. He loves his camping and sleeping under the skies and drinking beers with his mates, and he's very adventurous. And all of my childhood adventure comes from my father. He always loves action, and he's definitely not the clean ass kind of smart architect that she probably thought.
She bought a fake product.
Yes, it's probably ordered him on Wish or something. So this is not what I ordered.
and you had a twin sister, or you have a twin sister to be exact. And is she younger or older than you?
I have a twin sister, and I'm 5 minutes younger, so she's my big twin. Can you say that? Big twin?
Yeah, probably big twin sister.
Because big sister means older sister. So.
And you had an older one also, another one, right?
Yes, I also have 2 years older sister who's currently married in Brazil. But we're expecting and hoping she's going to move her entire family to Prague next year. So fingers crossed for that one. So in that way, our family will be kind of reunited.
But your parents are divorced. But
yes, my parents are divorced, and that's also interesting, because my mom, growing up, this is a typical example of parents that say, okay, let's stay together for the sake of children. My mom constantly being unhappy with not her expectations of love or anything not being met by my father. My father just kind of resigning on this and finding his fun outside and anywhere else, and having many lovers, and mom in the victim mode all the time. So it's just a very loveless
household.
Yeah, you get, but it's not being called that, because this is a family that stays together for the sake of the children. And it's crazy to look at it now, how much generally this affects children when they're growing up, how much it affects the way it affected me, the way how the relationship
you saw at home.
Yes, because
how? I mean, what was it that you noticed, or
sorry,
Lucie, did you even understand it back then, or are you understanding it now?
I didn't. I couldn't compare it with anything else, because there was nothing, nothing to influence us, because there was no nothing on TV. There was no Netflix, and I never saw my father kiss my mom. Not even once, or embrace with the kind of like, this is what love looks like, or this is what love means. So we were loved. We all got love from each side of our parents, but I never saw interaction between them. So I wonder if even now, so many years later, there's some kind of like a dysfunction in me, because I don't actually know what it's supposed to, how is this working? I don't know, because we don't realize how much our childhood affects us. Every single one of us. That's the most important time, how we're being formed, how we're going to start on our journey, and how it's going to go.
But you like, like your sister, for example, your twin sister, did you feel that she was older? I mean, how, because I twins is not like something you see on every corner. So how does that work?
Okay, so she was always my buddy, but because there was 3 of us, my 2 sisters were always the troublemakers, and I was the I was the good one. And I also always tried to make everything good for everyone. So I was the peacemaker, the in-betweener, either for my mom and my father, trying to go in between them and fix things, or to fix things in between my sisters. And also trying to be because I was the good one. So it was always like I wanted to keep my title, or that was, I don't know. And I think this is one thing that engraved such a deep pattern in my behavior. And only recently, after starting yoga, starting to read Eckhart Tolle, Alan Watts, and some influential people, I'm starting to find out that this is one of the patterns that I'm really trying to get rid of, to be the people pleaser, because I think this is somehow, without realizing, pleasing people is actually not that attractive for others. The first thing is, okay, I need to do the good thing to make everyone happy, but that's actually completely incorrect view. What I'm thinking now, I don't know that this is.
But how, like, what, like an accent? I mean, when you say that you were the in-betweener and like a mediator in a way, was that like, and what was it that you were trying to fix between your mom and dad? Were you trying to get your dad to love your mom more? Or
obviously there was always, like I loved my mom. I love my mom and I love my dad even now. And they wouldn't communicate together. So going to one and see that person's point of view, and then going to the other one and see her point of view, and then okay, so if I explain from this side to this side, then maybe it's gonna be better. I just wanted to make them feel better. And obviously that's not a good thing to do, because from nowadays psychology view, that's just encouraging my mom in her victim mode, when she's like, okay, so maybe if I can see that I'm engaging my daughter going to my father or doing something for me, so maybe I'll do a bit more of that, not consciously but unconsciously. I think that's encouraging her. And from my dad's side, I don't know how his psychology worked.
But how I mean, it's also an unfair thing to put on a child. I mean, or I mean, you're doing this as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And your sisters, they didn't go into this role.
I think each one of us had a different way how to deal with this. One was very like my older sister was the strongest one, in the way that she would always, she'd be always the first one to I don't know, like give you a good slap if she didn't like something. But only when we were much older, I found out that she was actually really fragile under this like a really heavy front. So that was her way how to deal with whatever she was going through. And my twin sister, she would just be the naughty twin. So she would just she fought with my older sister a lot, and they would always they would always be the ones sneaking out to the party, and I was like, oh, I can't go. This is not allowed.
So you were the good girl at home, trying to make everybody else happy.
Yes.
And so in some way, like, it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't like, okay, I want to make everyone happy, but this is just how I felt at that time. That was my I just followed my what I wanted. So it's interesting to see how it actually is connected with the way how people are being as adults. But I'm curious, how is it to have a twin? Like, do you feel some connection that is different than to your older sister, for example?
I always had an answer to this, saying I can't compare because I've never tried it not to have a twin. But
if you compare it to the relationship to your older sister, for example,
I I was definitely closer as a child because we shared a room together, and we would fall asleep holding hands, and that was really nice. And like I just had someone to share everything there all the time. That's a massive plus. And probably the minus is that it's difficult to find your own identity when you are part of a couple all the time. But I'd say there's definitely more pluses than minuses. We're always the cool ones at school because we were
two of us,
and good looking. So that was always. And my mom was amazing, and she still is amazing seamstress. So she'd always have perfect outfits for us matching. And that was like communist times. So when you had the cool outfit from German Burda magazine, that was just top of the pops then.
Yeah. But do you think that your twin sister, did she struggle as much as you to find an identity, or did you feel somehow that you were in the shadow of her, or
I felt that I was in the shadow of my sister in the way that she was always the one playing up at school with the boys running around, and like she'd have the friends around her because she was like the naughty one. But she could have felt, it's possible that she felt the same. I just didn't know, because then she could feel like, okay, she's the one with better marks, and she's the good girl, and what do we know? What is better? So there's always someone to feel in the shade of, if we choose to. So yeah.
And but this bond, like this, because you said you haven't tried without a twin, but I mean, is there any like this supernatural one? You know what I mean? Like where you,
I know
you feel her pain or something,
If I can feel what she feels, I definitely. Well, my sister's pregnant at the moment. I definitely felt pregnant all day today because of my bloated bellies. No, it's. We sometimes we share the same thought, but it's I've experienced this with many other people, and I think it's just because people's minds reacts to the same circumstances that are surrounding us. So I don't think that's a twin thing. I don't. There's nothing. There's an extreme love, and but nothing supernatural.
Okay.
Or at least not in my case. If there are twins listening to me and they're going like, "What's she talking about?" Not in our case.
So you did good at school, loveless between your parents, but loved by them individually. And then you're having this kind of mediator role in the family, and
it was quite hard to constantly hear the critique of my father from my mother's mouth, because obviously she was hurting, and her way to deal with this was she was just constantly closed at home, no friends, having the children as her world, and basically choosing the role. Okay, I'm abandoned here.
I'm a victim, and putting the responsibility for her own happiness onto you.
So I think the more she was trying to do this, the more I was inclined to go and do something with my father, because my father was the active one, and he was always outside, obviously, because he was chasing all the girls outside.
Yeah, but it's on the. I mean, but it's just like we said earlier. It's an unfair responsibility to place on a child, because a child should never be made feel responsible for a parent's happiness. I mean, that's ridiculous if you think about it, because we are not in any way emotionally developed enough to even. Because we, in the end, we think there is something wrong with us, that we.
But even today, so many parents do this error unconsciously, because what would you say is the correct thing? And if two people even love each other,
I would say, I know, sort out your fucking shit. Don't put it on your kids.
No, but like, would you tell stay together even if you don't love each other.
No, of course not.
Or go and separate straight away
of
now.
Course,
That's
separate,
what I've been promoting. Always.
And I mean, and we see that here, like I said, I mean, obviously in this country, they've been trying to follow a formula, and unfortunately are still trying to follow a formula that isn't very successful, because, you know, people are under huge pressure here from their parents, grandparents to get married, have kids, and all that shit.
Exactly, yes.
And then no one is happy in the end.
Yeah, you need to follow some kind of standard.
Yeah, there's a social standard that is being set. Anyway, so this is the situation. You turn 17, communist ends, and you see freedom.
Yeah. Well, it was a little bit. It wasn't like quite straightforward like that. I think my first sign of freedom was when I finished my 8th grade with my twin sisters. So the big twin team finished when I went to a different high school, to a different town, to study to be a teacher. And this is first time when our journey separated, and I became...
You from your sister?
Yes, and from my family, because this was a kind of school where you had to travel for 1 hour. So I had an option of accommodation in the actual town, even when I was... It sounds crazy now, because girls that are 14 are allowed to live in a different town, in kind of groups or in the like a... Doesn't matter, but for me it was like... My God, away from family and away from this twin team, and that was my first sense of freedom. And I went crazy. It was like, okay, let's go to the pub.
Yeah,
that was my.
You started
first...
drinking.
Yeah, that was about. I was 15 then, but yeah, Czech. I think those days Czech kids just drank even when they were 15. That was my first. Yeah, that was my first kind of like rebel experiences.
But then at 17, 18,
Then just before my graduation, I saw an offer on the pinboard to do nanny job abroad in England. And that in those days, that was just unimaginable adventure. It was like, oh my God, I can go to completely different country and I can make money there. It was like 40 pounds a week, and I was like, 40 pounds a week, unbelievable. And I knew straight away when I saw that if that's such an easy thing to do, just apply to an agency and go. That was it. I was sold. And straight away after my graduation, I got an agency. They got me family. We had the phone call with the family, and then through a landline phone, because there were no mobile phones then. And I got on the bus because there were no plane connections with London yet. And 24-hour journey. And I remember it was such a massive sense of adventure. And that sense of adventure is still with me. It's this kind of addiction to it every time I enter something new in my life, and that just takes me back to that first
that feeling.
Yeah, and because it was so slow, not like a flight. The bus was slow, yes, indeed. And it was so slow, and but you kind of enter this different. Complete world slowly, which is big difference, because suddenly I could see these houses, and we went through Brussels, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? You know, it's Brussels. And
because you hadn't traveled anywhere, I guess.
Yeah, like people couldn't. It was, I think, 2 years after revolution, and traveling wasn't that big yet.
And prior, you didn't. I mean, you could really go. So, but when you do this. When you do this, you were just going to be away for a year, right?
Yeah, that was a year, because I wanted to go back to university after a year. That was just to try that. Everything I do in my life, I do it because I want to try it, and usually ends up to be much longer than 1 year. But always the first initial thing is. yes, I really want to try this.
And you stayed away 17 years.
And that never, 17 years.
but
Indeed, sir.
Not on the bus though.
There's
But it wasn't that slow.
There's more to this funny bus story because I kind of got off in Brighton. I still remember this exact spot where I got off up to now, and I had to find a phone box quickly because I needed to let my parents know that I'm alive. This is how it was these days. And I was like, where do I find this phone box? And then I couldn't work out how it works because it was all different. And then this kind of phone call is like, hello, Mom, I'm here. So anyways, that's just like one of the strongest moments in my life.
And were they happy that you left? I mean, were they agreeing with this?
I must say that that's a big kudos to both of my parents. That through everything that I was in my life, I always had support. Anything really, that I came up with, there was never any critique. Maybe tattoo was a bit out of line, but anything that I did or the partners. The gender of my partners, there was never any complaint not complaint, always just support from my parents.
Do you think you were running away at this time, or it was just the seeking the adventure? You hadn't really.
When I look back at this, that was definitely running away, but unconsciously. I was so excited about, like doing my own thing, or maybe that's just naturally in my blood that I like to do my own thing. I really enjoyed the process of it, and I really with any sort of journey. Every country I go to, I usually end up living there for a while, working there, knowing the mentality of locals, finding friends that really stay in for the rest of my life. It's not just like a typical backpacking. Oh, okay, hello, how are you? Goodbye, and never see the person again. I really, really did this thoroughly, and I always enjoyed the discovery, the escape. This is very, very, very passionate and engraved thing inside me. So this kind of first discovery of Brighton was amazing. It's such a different mentality. Brighton is one of the most accepting and cosmopolitan tolerant and artistic and just very, very different city, especially Czech Republic.
Straight after communist.
Exactly, straight after the revolution. I came to the family. They thought that I probably haven't seen television in my life before, and they kind of acted that way to me. It was funny. It's like, hello, this is the TV. This is the shower. It's like, and I was completely from the other side, going like, okay, they have a wooden toilet seat. I don't think that would go well in the Czech Republic. So I was looking at them like what's wrong with these people?
Yeah, and they were looking at you like an alien.
But I think like the fact that now young people now can't really have the same kind of like really raw experience of this. That's a shame, because that's really that was the fun part of it. Yeah.
But and you did you stay long in Brighton? How was that?
I stayed. I'd say like part of me was in Brighton the entire 18 years, because when I moved to Spain, I would always go either for a year and then go back, or I would stay there for a season. Mainly, all of my out of Brighton destinations were mainly just for seasons.
To work.
To work, yes. To work, but go back to the... It's almost like I had two communities of people. I had my Brighton community and I had my Spanish community. And I'd always kind of like swap in between them, depending on work, coincidences, relationships at that time also. And that was it's difficult for me to say how many years exactly I've lived in Spain and how many years I've lived in Brighton, but about a year and a half after Brighton arrival, famous bus arrival to Brighton, I tried Madrid first, Spain.
To do what?
Again, nanny work. In those days, Czech Republic wasn't part of European Community, so it was impossible to do any other job. And
so you basically needed like a family to sponsor you into the country.
And that was always my foot to the door. Was always my and I thought it was amazing that any country I want to go to, I just apply for a nanny job, and then I'll see where life takes me next. But Madrid was a fail because everyone spoke excuse me, only Spanish, and I couldn't speak any Spanish, so that was like a 3 months of hell of trying to kind of guess what people are trying to say to me. But it taught me my Spanish,
or the basics.
The basics, yes. I was good for that.
Yeah.
Okay, Spanish try number 2 was Mallorca, because I've met a girl in Brighton saying like, "Oh, I did a nanny in there." So is that possible in such a beautiful island to actually find a nanny job in there? And yes, it was possible. I had a really bad experience with the family. They were not very nice, but straight after arrival in Mallorca, I've met a guy that said, "Okay, here is a phone number. If you're ever in trouble, give me a call." I would never do a thing like this today. I don't know what I was thinking, but I did give him a call many years ago. And he seemed to know all the go-go dancers in Magaluf, as you know, the world famous Magaluf in Mallorca.
I've been there, 92.
What do you think of Magaluf?
It was great when I was 18 or 19, but not sure I would like it today.
Yeah, it's basically the Las Vegas of Mallorca, full of British. It was great for me because I came from British city, so it was a close community to me. And I got a go-go dancing job in Bananas Club. Club called Bananas, which might sound naughty, but it was a normal disco club for a drunken British.
Well, what is a go-go dancer? What does a go-go dancer do?
It was a big thing in the 90s. I don't think it's that big nowadays, but it's a girl in the club, in the disco club, on the
podium,
little stage, and just dancing and pretending. Not pretending. We actually did have a good time, you know, getting like, "Come on, everybody, let's dance."
So like kind of like cheerleaders in a way to get people.
Yeah. And you have nice outfits, and you know, you're looking glamorous. You get hustled by drunk people all the time, and for me as a could have been, I don't know, 20. For a 20-year-old girl, this is what when someone tells you, when you do what you love for living, this is when your dream comes true. And I was like, okay, so my dream just came true because I love partying, and I'm partying for a job. So this is how I was thinking then. And obviously at work like this, you meet lots of expats, lots of people that live on the island, and this is how I made my first friends in there. And I met my best friend Zeffie, that remains my best friend for 25 years later now. Gay British guy that started sharing apartment with me in Mallorca, and basically he was the main door opening to my lesbian relationship then after, which is
not with him though.
No,
obviously.
He wasn't the gay I was looking for. But because his amazing personality and he's very funny, his sense of humor, he just eased everything out to me, because even even after living 1 year living in Brighton, which is the gay capital of England, I could see in there that it's okay to have a gay relationship, but I would still not allow myself to even go there because that just wasn't that's something that I saw. And then I kind of agreed with, but I would never give myself...
didn't picture yourself in it.
I wouldn't give myself green light. It's something that maybe I might like to do. I thought that, okay, I would like this, or I like this girl, or I like this girl, but I would never act on it. But, if life throws a Zeph in your life, like my Zeph was, he was just like, oh yeah, just knock that one, why not, and this one, and this is okay, and everything was so natural and okay for him in a gay life, and he presented to me in such natural way. And we started going to gay clubs, and he was very encouraging. It's like, oh, if you like her, why don't you give her a kiss? And then I kissed my first girl. So, and I thought like, okay, so no roof fell on my head, and what is the
floor didn't open up
yes.
you and swallow you.
The floor didn't swallow me, and it's actually, it feels the same as kissing a guy. The emotion is the same, but it's kind of like nicer, and this is what I feel at the moment. So on my next return to the gay capital of England, Brighton, I was fully blown gay person. Woohoo! So
you returned from Mallorca after this, having this experience.
Yes, I had one season. I had 1 season in Magaluf. I had a nice summer in Mallorca, made many friends, and moved back to Brighton, and with completely different mindset. So it's funny to come back to gay capital from a little Spanish island, and that's where I gained my gay mindset. And then I went from one extreme to another. So I became the kind of annoying lesbian that wears rainbow, accessories everywhere, and I had rainbow everything. And if there were rainbow eye lenses, I'd probably be wearing them also, because I wanted everyone to see that I'm gay. And if someone told me they were bisexual, I'd go like, how can you be bisexual? You're betraying the,
Of course.
Yes.
But how come? Why do you think you went over to this to like you're saying, to be this, as you call it, annoying?
Because I was really excited about the fact that I allowed myself to...
Yeah, but why? Why is that? Was it some freedom that you didn't feel that you had before, or?
I don't know. I I think I went full on into full guns blazing into being proud and gay, and also I thought it's easier to like make sure everyone knows. That way I can pull more girls.
So strategic.
Yes, because by then I looked quite feminine. That was before I cut my hair short. Yes, there was that period. Yeah. Also. So I just wanted to like really show. Yes, you can. You can go there.
You can approach me.
You can approach me.
But I'm actually talking about this. I'm very curious about It seems to me that gay people and now we have multiple genders and all that. These seem to be, for me, the only people that constantly need to keep their sexual orientation or identity out there in the discussion, and often claim that other people are against them, and then I'm often looking for who is actually against those people. I'm often trying to, I'm genuinely looking. Okay, so now I want to just see who is against someone, because you say, it's a gay-friendly cafe. Okay, is there a gay unfriendly cafe? Is there a cafe where gays are not allowed in? I mean, So
That's a good point.
it's interesting to hear you say this, that you kind of went full in and onto the, I don't know, to call it a propaganda or, or whatever, on a full display. I would, if there was a flag for heterosexual, I wouldn't be wearing that. Why? What the fuck would I have to put that on my shirt?
I think that was.
I don't have a shirt on my T-shirt.
On your T-shirt, I think in my case it was more of a when you go through a fashion phase where
you're punk or something.
And you really really follow that fashion trend. So it was more like for me that was not my orientation, but the kind of like pointing out my orientation. It was kind of a statement trend, I think. But I definitely agree with you with this kind of pointing out. If you, I don't know nowadays, but them years ago, if you went to Brighton, you'd see everything was in rainbow. So it's probably similar if you go to San Francisco, everything is in rainbow. So exactly your point is like, okay, this is a gay town, so obviously everything will be gay friendly. So why the rainbows everywhere?
Yeah, and I just think that, like, for me, I don't really care what people, where they get their kicks, whether they fall in love with men, women, dogs, or elephants. I just don't care. So I never understood why this. I can understand it maybe in some countries where gays have less rights and they are in danger or whatever, for whether it's religious or stupidity, like in Russia. But in overall in like most of Western and Northern Europe, I just don't I don't get why we're making such a big deal out of sexuality,
I'm not sure what the older generation went through, though, because I think I've seen a documentary on this, and there was older generation that was quite hurt by this kind of like, okay, let's remove all this pride away, because they say, well, you young ones, you don't know what we had to fight for, and because
which is a good point. It's a good point. But I mean, we also had people fighting for us 85 years ago in the Second World War, but we don't go out and wear military hats, to honor them.
We don't, you're right.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a little bit of a sidestep. I was just curious when they said this.
Let's go back on the road.
Yeah, but so you come back to Brighton, more experienced, knowing more what you wanted to go in. You go full in, and you meet someone?
And there I met my probably longest relationship in my life, which was Marta. I started my first proper serious relationship with a woman. And I think the most stable, relationship-wise, the most stable person in my life. We're still in a very good connection up today. We call each other every Sunday, and it's a woman that really beautifully influenced who I am at the moment and influenced my life. And there was loads of love. I think that's the first time when I actually recognized, okay, this is what is love, because that's the first time that I could see, okay, this is how it works. We go back to this kind of parents not demonstrating love
role models,
love between men and a woman. So for that, I will be thankful to her for the rest of my life. The pure feeling of love in the relationship, that was amazing.
But how, like, I was thinking when you told me these things, and like, I know you quite well, so I know a little bit your family, and I mean, I met your father, your sister, and your mom.
You saw the rainbow photographs.
But was it in some way? I'm just curious, because you say that you were the in-betweener and kind of I have a feeling that your mom and your sister are very strong characters, for right or wrong, but they're strong. And I think your father was maybe a little bit more absent. Does that somehow? Do you think that somehow influenced you, that you could more easily be attracted to a woman? That you know what I mean?
as Marta being them being a role model for, that was completely different relationship, I think. I think I'm always the most compared to my father. So I don't know if this kind of like withdrawal of my father against the power of my sister and my mother is kind of the same reflex in me, that I'm kind of like trying to withdraw from them a little bit, and as my mom was always trying to have a control over my father unsuccessfully. That's how I feel that the females in my family are trying to have control over me, but I don't think that was why I felt attracted to women. I kind of even looking back when I was a child, I always thought the princesses in the stories were quite hot, and obviously when you're a child you don't think hot, but it's like, oh yeah, she's beautiful, you know, and of course he's
and the princes were frogs, so not like we had a chance.
So but I think in sexuality we are evolving, and it's such evolution, the same as evolution of personality. When I was the proud gay wearing the flags, I thought this is the point where I'm gonna be at for the rest of my life. And that's actually like, why do gay people say that? Why do they say I'm 100% gay? How can you say I'm 100% gay? Because this is like saying I'm going to be exactly the same person as I'm at this moment
for the rest of my life.
For the rest of my life. That's completely crazy statement, because the my personality is evolving every day. And the same people's sexuality should be evolving through what they do and what affects them, and by people they meet. And it's all a beautiful mixture that creates us as we are, and that makes our journey. So I think from my view now, this is how I look at sexuality also. It grows with me as I grow as a person. Even as emotion or love as emotion grows with me, that also affects sexuality. Love and emotions are big parts of sexuality. It's all connected. So you know, how can sexuality not be changing with your emotional development? Yeah. So that's how I'm thinking now, but
maybe you'll think differently in 10 years.
Exactly. So it was different then. Before I thought like, oh yeah, I knew I was gay the whole time. And then of course I had my mom coming like, maybe you just need to find the right man.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, because I mean, for a lot of people, admitting that they're gay or bisexual or whatever preferences they have is often a big thing, and it kind of really gets deep on them and sits on their soul and actually can kind of destroy them from the inside. How was that in your case?
For me, it was always a question of fun, but maybe it's because my biggest influencer in setting my gay personality free was a very like a happy, easygoing guy, and that's why I always had it connected with something very happy and easygoing, and I never had excuse me, I never had gay orientation connected to anything
negative. So when you told, have a sip of water before, now Lucie looks like she just has been smoking a pack a day for the last 20 years, but she hasn't. But her throat, you would never be a professional singer, Lucie, right?
Yeah, and I've just realized that today is the day of me realizing that's never going to work.
But so when you go to your... You want some more water?
I think it's too much dog hair flying in the back.
No, there's no fucking dog hair here. Okay, so we're back. We just sanitized the room, so eliminated those dog hairs. So, Lucie, when you were telling your sisters, your parents that you were that you had a relationship with a woman, there was no pressure. You didn't feel any any fear or any rejection.
I think because she was and she is such an amazing woman. I felt very this is something I wanted to share with people that I love. So it's more than coming out with my orientation. I wanted to share I am with Marta. So I think because it was presented with such love, that's why it was received with love. It's probably not everyone's case, but this is an example of if everybody is a mirror of emotion that we send to them. So if I say something to someone, if I deliver without fear and with just pure feeling of love, then the reaction in this case was beautiful.
That's great.
Okay.
But how I'm curious about this, like how is that? Like, so you lived together for 8 years, and
we lived together for 8 years, but that was with me constantly going to Spain,
to Mallorca, and different places
for
right?
the seasons. Yeah. Yes, because we believed then that. If the perfect relationship is to give the other person freedom, and for me the freedom was that I could have both of my communities at the same time, and yes, I didn't feel any need to actually have more lovers in my life, and it's just that's how it felt to me that it is correct at that moment.
But talking about that, more lovers in life, because it is often in male relationships, or let's say in gay male relationships, there is often either an agreed freedom on having more lovers, or it just happens. And I actually remember, I hope I don't piss anyone off now, or actually if I do, I don't care. But I remember I spoke to a guy at my gym, gay guy, and he had been in a long-term relationship, and they had multiple other partners, both of them. And I asked him, so why do you think this is like? And he said, well, because it's two men. There is no stopper. There is nothing that stops it from happening. If it's a man and a woman, then the woman will usually say, no, I want to get to know you, and blah, blah. But if it's two guys, there is no one saying no. and I'm just curious,
it's like
if
when
it's
you put two forces together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm just curious if this is, I mean, it is, because I know that you have a lot of gay male friends, and then you had this relationship. Is it very different?
There's a good gay inside joke about lesbians, is that when two lesbians have a successful first date, they're already picking a name for the cat. Because they're basically ready to move in together.
Picking a name for the cat.
So that's what you get in a heterosexual relationship. The female tendency is always to settle down, to the fact that the guy wants to settle. It's the proof that she's the one. And male tendency is always quite physical, because you guys, you can't help yourselves, but that it's physical. You have it in you, and you need to listen to your body. So when you connect the two female factors, you're gonna get the fast settling. And a cat. And the cat. And if we get the two male factors together, then you just get love banging.
But how, talking about lesbian relationships, so because in male gay relationships you often have these roles. You have this top and bottom, and you have one maybe a little bit more feminine and the other one more masculine. Was there something like that in your case?
Well, Marta was more masculine than me, but I don't think we had different roles in our household. But obviously that could be different in it's almost like in any other sexual relationship. Some people enjoy roles, even in BDSM. Some people like to have certain roles, and some people just are themselves and not giving any names. So I think that would be also in a gay energy. You'd see very often two gay boys together. They are both very girly and very feminine because they like similar things, because they have the same interests, and because they act the same way. If you go to a gay club in Gran Canaria, it's going to be full of hairy, bearded bears and dressed in leather, and you wouldn't see the female factor in there at all.
No.
It's people just grouping more into what they have in common. So you'd have similar people together.
But
I just wanted
I
wanted to say in this part, because I hear so often sad stories with young kids identifying themselves in their sexuality, especially nowadays with the internet. There are so many more options. I am transsexual. I am this. I am that, which is good for people to see that it's okay, it's normal, but at the same time it puts pressure on young kids to once they identify themselves in something, they don't have the kind of feeling that it's okay, it's gonna change, it's gonna evolve, it's gonna have its own life, it's gonna go with you in different ways, and they act on the exact moment how they feel about it right now. And there are so many suicides on the not knowing that this is who you are now, but maybe
it will change.
You're gonna be someone else later, and it's okay. It's gonna, exactly. You don't need to make a statement. Okay, now I'm this,
and I'm staying,
and it's
like
gonna
this,
stay with me for the rest of my life. So if I can get some kind of message out there, it's just like, don't worry, people. It's gonna be, it's gonna grow with you, and you never know.
This, but then you leave this relationship and you leave it for a man, right?
Yes, this was my season in Mykonos, and
what were you doing in Mykonos?
Go-go dancing again.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't just a go-go dancer my entire life, but I was many other things. We will probably go back to my professional journey. But this gig was go-go dancing on a very beautiful, luxurious club on the beach in Mykonos. And this guy was the owner of the event, German guy, very, very powerful, dominant German guy. He was my boss. And yes, at that time I thought that I crazily fell in love with him and with his power. And when I came back to Brighton, I couldn't do things the same way as I did before, and it was very hard because I still loved my girlfriend, but in a completely different energy, and I couldn't change it. I couldn't do anything about it, and that was a very, very hard and sad time in my life. And yes, finally, when I finished my relationship with my girlfriend, I found out that the romantic ending is not going on
with the guy.
Yes. It's basically what happens with a dominant, powerful man that has lots of money and many girls he can play with. So obviously he dropped me like a toy. But that I don't think there was a way back for me to go back into my emotional and sexual setup that I had before.
Why? Because the door was closed, or because you felt changed?
I think because another door opened,
yeah.
And yes, and this was the first person to introduce a little bit of BDSM played to my life, and that's again something that I didn't expect at all, and I just got really excited by a new thing in my life. So again, this is the example of the flow and journey that I'm talking about. That we never know what else opens, and everything that we say years back usually proves us completely wrong in the following years. So,
yeah, we're not really good at guessing our future.
yes, the older I get, the more I'm discovering that, and even we were so proud with Marta on the saying, like, the more freedom you give to your partner, the more the love is stronger, and let the bird fly out of the cage and all that. And in the end, that's
the
what
cat caught the bird.
That's what broke us. And also, I was like, so many men told me, like, oh, wait, when you discover or what was it? What is when you find this really annoying guy in the club, and he goes like, oh, you're a lesbian only because you haven't tried the magic,
real man,
real man, and the real power of it. And they was like, oh, here we go, another one again. So I was kind of a little bit pissed off with, okay, now I proved all these guys right.
No, you went after the stereotype.
So yeah, so that wasn't very nice. And yeah, that was a long trauma. It took me a long time to kind of like get over this. The feeling of guilt for breaking something that was good, and refusal from someone that I was in love with at that time, and I think that affected my relation to men up to now. That I think it's some kind of pattern that I'm trying to break still. It's something that is difficult to overcome.
But during your relationship with Marta, that's when you get diagnosed with a cancer or a risk of cancer, let's say, right?
Yes, that was at the beginning of our relationship, and I found there was a cyst detected. And it was like, okay, this is just like a 3-day surgery. You're just going to be, 1 week out from work, and you're going to fly to Czech Republic, have it done, fly back. And when when they were going to take the cyst out, they were like, okay, this looks like something much more serious, and you're going to stay with us for much longer, and we're going to do lots of tests. And I was in such I'm a Taurus, so I was very stubborn, saying, like, I'm not staying here, and I'm not having this. And I was very like, what do you mean? Nothing like this is happening. And I was in a very denial mode. And then it was like more bad news and more bad news. And it was interesting for me, the change of dynamics completely. It was from this like, I've got to be back at work on Friday. I'm not staying in here. Suddenly it was like, oh, okay.
This could kill me.
Okay. So never mind work, never mind going back to England. And suddenly like the values are completely changing step by step, and it's not important to go back to England. And so that was a tough time because it was about 1 month of testing, because they still couldn't find how big the danger is, or what is the.
Where was this?
On my ovaries. And finally the all the testing was over, and they said, okay, so either we take most of your female internal organs out, and you will be completely out of risk of cancer, because there are some things that seem to be okay, but some things that seem to be really dangerous, and we don't know which way it's going to go in the future. So if you want to avoid this risk, then you need to go really drastic, or we're going to do something alternative, but you're going to be in
risk.
danger. And that was not in 1 second, my answer was like, take it all out. I don't want any of this danger. And
How old are you there?
I think I was 24 or 25. 24, I think I was. And I haven't regretted that decision for 1 second in my life. It has shaped me in many ways because there's loads of responsibility that I didn't have to worry about.
Like what?
And it gave me lots of freedom. Like I need to find a correct partner as father of my children. I need to find a place to settle. I need to find a country to settle in. Basically, all of the grown-up responsibilities kind of, I kind of got rid of them by not having the responsibility of creating a nest and the background for a child.
Did you think about it like this back then?
Straight away from the first moment, I was like, I've got 2 sisters. Sorry, girls, you're gonna have to do the
keep on the DNA.
It was actually, and still through all my life, it was a relief not to have that kind of responsibility.
But when you call it the responsibility, that's I mean, you don't make it sound like a choice. You make it sound like an expectation then, or what?
I think every female has been in this situation. Every single female I can talk for, where either by relatives or by everybody around, society. It's expected from females to want to have a child, not just to have a child, but to want to have a child. It's like, okay, you don't want to have a child. Either there's something wrong with you, or you will definitely change your mind later. And that also, I think, gives pressure onto women, because if someone tells you, I know you don't want to have a child, but you will definitely want one later. So that is kind of like a stressful information for someone to so be ready that you will be, it's for example, I know you feel independent now. I'm talking for women that can have children. I'm talking about the sense of responsibility. So someone tells you, okay, you feel like you don't want to have children now, but you will definitely come to a stage where you will want children. So you better start looking for a good father now, just in case you will want children later. So it's kind of like people are telling you, yes, you think something, but do something different because you will think differently later.
That's a really interesting. It's a very
and
interesting
every
way to say
single woman has to go through this. Even my twin sister, she's so happy now at this late age, expecting a child, but she was under such pressure from like, okay, you must decide now. It's your last chance, and it's wrong if you don't want to have, or if you accept you're not going to have a child, and it's loads of. And she turned to me many times that I feel envious of you, not envious, but I think you've got it good, that you don't need to deal with this.
Yeah, because it's physically impossible for you to have kids.
Yes.
But you never, it was never in your relationship like with Marta to an idea to adopt or anything like this?
No, she was I can't speak for other, obviously every single lesbian couple is different. But this kind of vibe that we had, it was never an option. Like none of us had a driving license, for God's sakes.
No. But how because talking about this expectation, as we started out here in the beginning, we were talking about your parents and how they knew each other very little. And have some water, Lucie. Your voice is going. So we were talking about that. Like there's this plan that is laid out for people. You're supposed to live in a certain way, reproduce, and then I probably gain some weight and be on the couch. Like it's a path, but actually looking at it from the outside, I mean, I don't have kids, and I'm very doubtful that I will have.
So you understand the kind of understanding that we had with my ex-girlfriend.
And I mean, and if I look at this this kind of planned path, then the people who are on that path are not. I mean, I'm not saying they're all unhappy, but there is a lot of unhappy people there, and there is a lot of people there who tell me, when I travel somewhere, I'm jealous, or I go to a concert whenever I want to go to a concert, and I somehow feel that, in certain places, and this alternative path is less accepted than elsewhere. And I'm curious about, because Brighton, it was a very kind of open-minded, tolerant place, but you still felt like, even if you had left the Czech Republic, you still felt this expectation until the moment that you couldn't, right?
I don't think I was too young, I think, to feel that kind of, because you only, as a woman, you only get that pressure when you get older, because that's when everyone
they hadn't started working on you.
Yes, exactly. But also, like, you don't get the typical, like, oh yeah, it's time. It's time for you to start thinking about it. So I didn't come to, that was really like good timing for me, because I didn't come to that age yet.
Yeah, you weren't ripe. You weren't ripe enough for.
But I have many friends in Brighton. I have many friends in Brighton as lesbian couples that, for example, found the donor on the internet, and they invited the guy to their household and did like a candle party, having candles everywhere, and suddenly one of the girls got the syringe out.
What a way to party!
It's like we conceived our child in a very romantic way.
Yeah, so, that's great.
There are many alternative people in Brighton.
But how so you kind of go back to the guys after this. I mean, you meet this German guy in Mykonos, that didn't work out, but you kind of go back to the guys.
I think it's almost because obviously this question comes often to me. How comes you liked girls and now you like men? So I think it's almost like being a Taurus is some stubbornness in me. It's like, okay, I'm gonna conquer this because this guy gave me such a hard time, and I left my girlfriend for him. So it's almost like I want to experience one fully working heterosexual relationship. Obviously, I'm also very sexually attracted to men, but it's something that I almost need to tick off my
list.
Yes.
The bucket list.
Yes, I need to tick that off my bucket list.
And did you and you had a long-term? You've had some long-term relationship with guys, right?
No, I've never had a long-term relationship with men. So otherwise, that wouldn't.
What's the longest one you've had?
I think about 8 months.
Okay.
I had a British boyfriend in Mallorca. Yeah, and that was probably the longest. I've never had a boyfriend in Czech Republic before I went to Brighton. And yes, I don't really have as a teenager. I've never had a big history with men, which at certain point of my life I translated as my gayness.
Yeah, sign of your gayness.
I was
early
like,
signs.
you see, this is why I never had any boyfriends in Czech Republic. But looking back at it now, that wasn't the case.
But I'm curious. I mean, obviously, comparing an 8-year relationship with an 8-month relationship is difficult because it's a completely different thing. But can you say if there is a difference? Is there a different dynamic being in a relationship with a guy and with a girl?
Definitely, because I think girls they don't have this kind of constant struggle. It's not a struggle, but the difference, the female factor and male factor, as we spoke about, the female wanting
the nest.
the nesting, settling things, and the male bringing in the kind of male energy. So it's almost like the happy ever after household of two girls. And so there's definitely more. But then it's I can't say that in general, because there are many crazy lesbians and many crazy,
Hetero couples.
It's our personalities. So there are so many.
Yeah, but for you, talking about it from your experience, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, was it?
In my I can't compare, because in my experience, the heterosexual relationship didn't have the factor of love. I wasn't in love with the guy, and I wasn't even very attracted to him, but we just had a nice summer relationship, and we lived together at that time. And in my lesbian relationship, there was a strong factor of love. So I think this is. So I'm.
But if we take it down from emotional level into, like, I don't know, household everyday stuff, did you fight more with the guy than the girl? Or is there some clashes that you saw in a male-female relationship that weren't there in a female-female, or
I
the other way?
I think this is very much the same in gay or heterosexual, because it depends on
the personality.
On the personalities. Yes, it depends on personalities. I had many households sharing with my gay friends. I mean, of those, I have many experiences, many different gay flatmates, and there were many like a typical household outbursts that you could say. So it doesn't even need to be a relationship to have this kind of factor.
Obviously not. No. And I mean, the point was more if I don't know, was Marta more jealous than your boyfriends were, or like.
No. But again, it depends on this is definitely not gender bound, I think. But now the goal now that I'm aiming for is basically to connect all. I'd like to connect the strong sexual attraction with the strong feeling of love and trust, and I don't actually mind if that's going to be in a lesbian relationship or a heterosexual relationship, but probably because I haven't had that yet, it's more likely to be a heterosexual relationship to tick it off my bucket list.
Yeah. So you're open for both.
Yes.
You're open for either
I'm
way.
open all hours.
Yeah. Then you mentioned it. I mean, this sounds like you worked as a go-go dancer. You were working on some yachts or something, I think, as
in the
well.
yachting industry. I have a all life friend, and she meets me, I don't know, like once in 5 years, and randomly every single time she asks me what am I doing in that moment, it always ends up to be some really random job, and she's like, I tell all my friends about you. I'm going to meet my friend in from Czech Republic, and she's probably gonna have something really, and it's like, what are you doing now? It's like, I work in an ice bar. And then last time I met you were making statues out of wax on Brighton Pier.
So you've done a little bit of everything, but nothing ever became you, or you never, you know what I mean? It never became your identity.
Yes, this is interesting thing, because that seems to be a big thing in a society, that people are identified by the work they do, or by their job that they do, and that way I would have to be like 100 different people and personalities together, because I always picked my jobs always picked me, because I always came across something, and my attitude of why not, and the adrenaline of it's again the bus ride into something unknown, and you know, let's see where this job takes me, because it always takes you to some completely different, you know, people, energies, and so thanks to that, I had so many different jobs, and each friend in my life, when they introduced me to their friends, they always picked a different one out of my collection, and they knew about all of them, but the one that always appealed the most to them, this is who I was for them to introduce to their friends. So it was interesting to see, okay, so this one loves the waitress in the you know, my friend he loves telling people that I once worked in Brighton as a waitress in an Indian restaurant, and I'm the one who worked in an Indian restaurant. And then one of my friends in Brighton, he always introduces me the go-go dancer from Ibiza, and that was like 15 years ago, but I'm still the go-go dancer from Ibiza. And every time he introduces me, and these are, you know, and the next one goes like, oh yeah, she was with the film crew in Mallorca, and always I will be the one from the film crew in Mallorca. But
none of these identities somehow consume you, or you know, you don't feel bound by any of them.
No, not at all. No. I don't know if this is a correct thing or incorrect thing.
I think it's very correct. I think it's very correct, because if you're bound by something, it means that you are gonna limit yourself. You're gonna miss out on all the other doors that are possible. But I asked you once what jobs were the ones that were the coolest one. Well, and you told me it was the go-go dancing.
The go-go dancing, it definitely, this was an era of my life that I shared a lot with my twin sister, because actually with my first go-go dancing job in Mallorca, I was like, oh, I'm at this place, and I just party for money, and this is so cool. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna come as well. So this is actually where my sister rejoined me, and most of our years in all these like summer destinations,
you were together.
We shared this time together. So this is why it's always difficult to say like, oh, how comes you were living with your sister or not living with your sister, and how much of your years of your life did you spend together or not together? It's really difficult to say, because we would always rejoin for our travel seasons.
And why was this such a great job?
Ibiza, that was the good years, not like now, but this is we are talking the 2000s. So in the year 2000, from 2000 to 2003, it was all live and heaving in Ibiza, and it was very spectacular. There were 5 main massive clubs. I was a dancer for one of them, for Amnesia. And we are talking clubs that take thousands and thousands of people inside, and because the entire island is all about the DJs and the party. And to lure the people in, each club had a makeup artist, the wardrobe artist. We as a go-go team got dressed every evening before the promotion walk into the historical port of Ibiza, all in the glitter and in the theme, and we were all like walking around.
You were like superstars.
Yes, and the port in Ibiza is like one little bar next to each other, and they all wanted us to hang around because it was all very spectacular, and they all offered us like free shots. Now, come on, so there was one shot in this bar, one shot in this bar, one shot. So it's basically getting drunk, looking very glamorous. I don't know how we did it them days, because then at 1 o'clock, it was the time to actually start working in the club, because that was just the pre-dancing promotion. So a bus took us to the club. There were more like champagne and the drinks coming, and in this state we would dance on a massive stage on top in these amazing costumes until 4 o'clock in the morning, I think. And actually my sister, I don't know if I can say this, but she once fell off the main stage because she was quite acrobatic with her dancing, and after all these shots she fell down. I think 5 meters into the crowd, and she just like shook off and like and then walked up and danced again like nothing happened. And like these were crazy years, and amazing DJs like the big names, all the Carl Coxes and Danny Tenaglias, and it was just big. We were invited to all the big VIP parties, and it was really crazy life. However, I must say about this section of my life that prior to this was a night before the departure on the boat from Mallorca to Ibiza. Okay, so we were eating our pizza on the square together with Gabi, my twin sister, and it's like, okay, so how much money do we? Because we knew we have our job in Amnesia that was already given to us. We had to go to change the islands, and it's like, okay, I've got 20 euros. How much do you have? It's like, I've got 10 euros. And we were like, okay, that's fine, that's enough. And we literally like moved to a new island with 30 euros in between us. And we thought it was absolutely normal. This is like an amazing mindset that I can't imagine having now. We got to the island, and the club delayed the opening by 2 weeks, and we had 20 euros between us. So that was crazy, and we had to like keep this glamorous look of these are the dancers from Amnesia.
You need to show that you're on top of your game.
and it's like I was like, okay, we need to eat something, so we're gonna buy a baguette and a tin of tomatoes, and then. My sister refused to eat it anywhere, so somebody could see us, the dancers from Amnesia, eating a baguette dipped in tomato sauce. So we climbed all the way up to Ibiza Castle, into the historical castle, and hidden in the most hidden corner of Ibiza. And it's like, are you sure no one can see us?
The silver wasn't shining anymore.
Yes. And we were sleeping secretly in my friend Zevs, the one that turned me gay. We were sleeping secretly in his boyfriend's apartment. He always sneaked us in the dark, and that was the wild. So this is how our wild season in Ibiza started.
So then, but at the end of all these adventures, I mean, and this journey that was supposed to be 1 year when you left on the bus. That when you left Prague or Czech Republic on a bus, that was supposed to be a year. It turned out to be 17 years.
Yes.
Why did you come back to the Czech Republic and to Prague?
Well, again, it was supposed to be a year trial, as it works in my life.
And this was 8 years ago.
Yes, that was 8 years ago. Thank you very much. And the main thing is that Brighton is a city that is forever young, and once you start getting older, you can see that around you. That's the constant new energy of there are free universities in there, and it's always so it was like Brighton is very hype and party. Then we were spending summers in islands that are all very hype and party. And suddenly it's I heard someone talking about it. It's like the 40-year-old beach boy that is still trying to be cool or like something.
Me, yeah.
Yes, but you see, you were sensible like me, and you moved to Prague, where it doesn't, because these kind of factors are much more visible in destinations like this, like Mallorcan beach or Brighton.
So you felt you were getting too old for this, basically.
Yes, and too old, and yeah, we can't just party and have
and eat baguettes with tomato sauce.
It got better afterwards, didn't it?
Did it stay like for long? No, but and how was it to come back here then?
And I had friends moving back here prior to me that shared my life with me
on the road
in Mallorca and in the UK, and they moved to Prague first, and they were like, you know what? It's actually not that bad, because I still had the imagination that people earn 5,000 crowns a month here,
which is 200 euros.
Yeah, and I just thought it was impossible to
live here.
Yeah, live or professionally exist, and I realized step by step in here that that's actually exactly what the doctor prescribed, what I was looking for, because I could really reconnect. It still feels nice now to reconnect to things that I enjoyed as a child, and to see people in actually having families and growing older. You don't get that much in Brighton, and I even 8 years later, I'm discovering more and more things in here that I just wouldn't find anywhere else, and that's a really good feeling, having that in my own country that I come from.
When you come here, like, so I'm curious because you have lived abroad then for 17 years, and you have lived in very kind of tolerant, multicultural, open societies, and I mean, Prague is a very diverse city in itself, but still, compared to like Brighton and other places that you've been to, it's not as diverse. And also, you come back not able to have children. I mean, did you feel like a misfit when you came back somehow with this? And when you started seeing guys, because here it's very much, children. How has this been?
I felt like a misfit, but not due to not being able to have children or I don't know, anything else. It was more due the sense of humor and the
no
kind
shit,
of like
Sherlock.
Okay. And I kind of like couldn't identify with anyone around me apart from my family and my friends, obviously from Brighton. And but generally, it was really difficult, like not culture shock, but kind of like personalities of people around you shock. And a great moment came when I met my best friend on Tinder, my best friend here, and he kind of struggled with the same thing because he's literally just moved. Then this is like many years ago. He moved here to be with his daughter and to be with the mom of his daughter, and that's basically the sacrifice sort of from his side. But he was completely lost in translation here. But for very similar reasons as me, because I kind of came from the British, he's British, and I came from British culture. And we on our first Tinder date, we had such a good whinge. And
I don't even know what that means. Whinge.
Okay, how to explain what is whinge?
You just had a good chemistry, humor-wise.
Humor-wise, and we were like, oh, can you believe this? And look at these Czechs, what they do here. And it's kind of like this understanding. So no romance blossomed, but a friendship for many, many years later. And we I think we rescued each other at this stage, because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I've got someone here that's exactly like my friends back in England. Because even in Mallorca, I was mainly with the expat community. And then because he's quite sociable, he was
sociable. He pees in a box at home, and you can take him out without any risk.
What's that, sociable?
Sociable.
No, sociable is when you talk to many people.
Yeah.
And you're being very talkative.
Yeah.
That's sociable. And so obviously he's made many more connections with the expat community here, which was very giving to me.
Yeah, you could kind of play on his network.
That was my door open to what I was missing from the UK. So now I'm very lucky because I can have best of both worlds.
But how is it towards your family? Because I mean, you said obviously you kept in touch with them, and you could kind of, I don't know, you had the chemistry with them still when you came back. I mean, obviously, working with your sisters and sister in the summers, and then I know you visit your other sister in Brazil. And your parents, you've always came here to visit, obviously.
Yes. I always made sure that my parents stay in my life.
But how when you came back, did you step back into the shadow of your sister and into the same role in the family?
No, because obviously we didn't live in the same household. We have separate lifestyle. Actually, I did move in here with my sister, with my twin sister, and that was a difficult one not difficult one, but I suppose it was difficult for me to explain and also to understand that it's not healthy for two sisters, and then after with her boyfriend also to live together as grown-ups, because yes, it's family, yes, it's good financially, yes, we can be support to each other, yes, we are used to traveling together and we have always been there for each other, but it's somehow dysfunctional in certain way. This is how I felt and I still feel, but it was very difficult to explain that to my sister. I think because she always had the kind of like a overpowering, in charge feel. She's very dominant. So she was like, what would you be looking for? Because you have something here with
that
me.
Is amazing. Yeah.
And what are you missing? And she almost took it as a critique of her. If I'm complaining about co-living, so that actually was until I met my Tinder British friend Hugh, that he really pushed me into a separation from my twin sister, and I'm quite grateful for that because obviously that's I'm getting more and more independent.
And what about your mom? Is she still a victim?
My mom is she was a victim when she still lived in Brno, separated from us, a bit more in the way demanding the visits, saying I'm here on my own. Your father has a different family. My father remarried, so come and see me, come and visit me. It was I don't know. We lived abroad, but we always sort of like had to make sure that our mom is somehow not forgotten, because she would say that I feel refused or I feel forgotten. But amazing change has happened lately, because my mom got an apartment in Prague close to my twin sister. And she just feels in the right place. Okay. And that way she doesn't need the attention that much, and she just surprises me so much lately, and it's unbelievable. She goes. I actually have a really funny story just from yesterday, because I sent my mom a message by accident that I was sending to my friend, and she's like, "Oh, I hope you're not going out drinking too many beers or something." She still does the mum thing. And I went to walk dogs in Witkov with my friend Martin. And I said, "Are you there yet? I'll meet you at the kiosk." And I sent it to my mom, and it's like, shit, I sent it to my mom that I'm gonna meet him at the kiosk, and she actually laughed at it, and she really made it into a joke rather than panicking, going like, "Oh my God, you're going to have a beer during the week with your friends." So she has more and more moments like this, which is amazing.
Maybe she's growing up.
She is. She might be. There's never too late to start growing up and enjoying life. I think.
But I think I'm curious, because since I got to know you, then I've always felt that you are somehow on some sort of a soul-searching, self-reflection path in a way.
Yes, I'm. You met me at a time when I already. I think it was difficult for me to. Probably because of constantly living with my twin sister,
to create your own identity,
and being the one that listens, because she's very protective of me. So she was always the one that knows, right? I'm the one that knows. Listen to me. So I kind of got into the mode of like, I'm not going to be thinking about anything, because what do I know? because she knows better. And then my best friend here introduced me to Eckhart Tolle and to books that actually are guiding you a little bit how to recognize what's going on with you. And that's the first time that I was like, oh my God, this is making sense. This is, this is why I'm feeling, and this is first time when I actually was led how to self-analyze. I didn't even know what such thing as self-analyzing is. And I think that's because I felt comfortable in that. That's what led me into yoga, or my then lover that I met. He introduced me to yoga, and I wanted to impress him. So I wanted to be really cool. That was.
Yeah, really, I remember. I saw you going to that yoga studio at like 6 a.m, and I thought, what the fuck? She must really like this guy.
Yes, and I remember because he's got like this hut by the lake, and when we first met, we also got together on Tinder. But when we first kind of like had our real weekend date at the lake, on the boat, and was all very nice, and of course lots of drinking. And he was like, "Oh, tomorrow we all gonna wake up and do yoga on the pier right by the hut," and it's all very like, "Oh my God, oh my God," and it's like, and everyone was of course, "Yes, I'm gonna do yoga," because everyone wanted to look like, "Oh, I'm the one who does yoga in the morning," and I'm like, I've never done it, but I really want to also do yoga in the morning, and I was so hangover, it was horrible. And I had no idea what I was doing, and I thought I'm going to throw up any second. And the pier was on the water, so it kept on wobbling. It kept on wobbling, and it was my worst experience ever.
But you kept on.
That was my first yoga class. Yes.
But you didn't give up. I mean, you went to. I know you went to India.
Yes, I basically I really wanted to share this yoga. For this lover, and it seemed to somehow connect with what I was reading in the
at the time,
in the self-helping books. So it suddenly started making sense together, and then we split up with this lover. And through the dramatic time through the kind of like low point time that everyone goes after splitting up some kind of relationship, I was like, but I don't want to get rid of yoga because it's making me feel good, and I really need to find some kind of power in me to, even when this relationship finished, to continue with this, because this is what I like doing. And suddenly it was the first kind of identifying, or after a long time identifying, okay, I really like doing this, so I'm going to do that, because I never used to do this. I never used to identify what I really want. I always took whatever came my way. And
or what your sister thought was good for you.
Maybe, yes. What my sister thought, but also with this, like having so many different jobs, I always took the ride of whatever came. I was like, okay, let's try this.
You never went after anything.
I call it hitchhiking through life philosophy, because you go, okay, I'm going to take this ride wherever it takes me. And this was the first time when I actually said, this is what I want to do. I identified it. And that
brought you to India.
Yeah, that brought me to India. This is I was like, okay, so how do I do this properly? I need to really go intensive.
And so you went to the fountain.
Yes,
India.
I went to the fountain. I obviously I watched too many times the Eat, Pray, Love movie. Yeah. As well. And after, I think everybody after watching certain amount of Eat, Pray, Love, they just must go to yoga. yoga.
I've never seen it, so you must go to India. But
or maybe you shouldn't, because you end up in India.
But you ended up with. This is some 2 years ago. That
yes.
2.5 years ago, and you end up now. You're a yoga teacher.
Yes, this is a big thing in my life, or not big thing, but this is one of the big factors that are kind of changing my outlook on how to think and on how things are going in my life, because I went to yoga teacher training only because of its intensity, and because that was because I was traveling on my own. And I thought, okay, I need to meet some people in a safe space. So the only way how to do this is to become a part of some kind of training camp. But I wasn't really good at yoga. At that time, I thought I'm not good at yoga. That was my mindset.
No, but you jumped in on the deep end, really on the deep end.
And at the reception, I was like, hello, I'm here for the yoga teacher training, but I'm not going to be a yoga teacher because I'm not very good at yoga. And that was my first statement. And they were like,
what's wrong with you?
Because I wanted to kind of like make sure you
lower
know, I'm not
because
I thought that people that go to these places are just like amazing in yoga, and this is why they are getting the certificate. And I wanted to stay there only for 2 weeks and then carry on traveling and not even finish the thing, because I was like, what am I going to be finishing for? Because I'm never going to be good enough to be yoga teacher. And only like 1 week in the course, sharing the philosophy with people, people going like, you know, there's no perfect way how to do this asana, or no perfect. Everyone does their own thing, and every single way is correct. I mean, you should know the technical parts. You should know, you know, what mainly the meaning behind it. I think that's even better than the physical correctness, is to know the meaning behind each thing that you do in yoga. And I found out that just by really understanding it and having good time and being on the same mindset and level with all the people around me, I thought I'm exactly the same as everyone else. And why shouldn't I be a yoga teacher? It's fine. Obviously, like, it was nerve-wracking because we had to deliver a lesson, and I was like, I really didn't think I can do good, and are you falling asleep?
Yeah, no, I'm just doing an asana here. I'm in a downward facing dog. No, but I'm just curious because now when I was listening to you, I'm just curious because if you would not have gone all the way to India to do this, and you had this mindset, because I think, yeah, you say that I'm not good enough for this, I'm not going to be able to do this. So if you would have joined the yoga course here in Prague, you probably might have left after a day or two. But you had made it all the way to fucking India.
Yeah.
So, and it was no way back. So
and
you
also
kind of had to ride it out.
Yeah. Also, I was on my own, and it's all very like I made this decision on my own, and it's just when something happens once, and it kind of gives you a signal. Okay, so this is how it works, and because it happened that something that I never thought that I could do. I showed me that I completely misjudged myself, and then when I listened to what I was saying at the beginning of the course, I was like, "What was I thinking?" Yeah. And now I know why people looked at me like, "What is she on about?" And because of this experience, now every time even with this podcast, I was like, "Okay, I have like a really bad voice." And there isn't anything in my life that would be interesting enough for people to listen to. That was the first reaction. But then this moment in India straight away swung me over to like, why not? And then I imagined it like, what could I be talking about? And then I kind of saw the points that could be maybe inspiring to someone. And then it's like, can you imagine yourself? How are you going to be feeling after you've done the podcast? You're going to be like, nice one. Yeah. Next one of the list.
Yeah, exactly.
And by deciding I'm not good enough for a podcast, or this is not a thing that I do, I'm completely robbing myself
of the pleasure.
Of the pleasure, yes.
Yeah, and also the achievement, because I mean everything we do, whatever it is, then it is there. We leave something behind, whether it's a memory or a tangible thing. But I'm curious because I know we're about to end this, but I just wanted to.
Just when it got all exciting.
Yeah, about the yoga. I'm just breathing through my fifth chakra here now, and no, I'm. So I know that you're organizing this, or you're starting or working on organizing these yoga retreats as soon as the COVID thing ends and people can start traveling like humans again and spend time together and not.
This is another thing that I would never believe before that I could, because it's always, I'm not the person that does yoga retreats. What bullshit? Because I'm actually really, really excited about my first retreat that will. So
you're gonna have like 10, 12 people.
There's 10 people already booked, and it's in this amazing location. I thought, well, why not having the first edition completely? Like, let's start from the high top. So, like, I rented this really deluxe cottage, and I think I'm just gonna have to go like
be down it from there. It'll be baguettes it'll be a baguette with tomato sauce from then on.
Well, it is all inclusive, so you can count on the baguettes with the tomato sauce. But it's gonna be like really difficult to top this location. So I don't know if I didn't kind of like took it from the wrong end.
But you will find out. But if people want to know more about this, if they would like to join a later one, where should they follow you?
There will be my retreat page on Instagram. So,
but what is your current? Do you want people to follow your Instagram? Yes or no?
I don't have one.
Oh, you stopped it?
Well, no, my personal one.
Yeah.
Okay. So
because then like, people, you will promote it there anyway also.
Okay.
And that's an active page, right?
Okay. Or maybe I'll just go home now and do my
and create a page.
Why not? I can do anything. Woo woo.
Now, what's your Instagram?
Okay, so my Instagram is Miss Minnie's Glitter Heels.
Miss Minnie's Glitter Heels.
Yes, and I don't know if there will be some kind of link to it or not.
Yeah, I will put links to anything.
Because if I make Almar to spell it now, I don't think it's going to do a good job of it.
No, you'll find the link in the episode description.
Okay, and connected to that very soon, I think you'll find my retreat Instagram.
That's great. Yeah, interesting, Lucie. I mean, there were, when we were talking about doing this episode, I share your. I saw it the same way as you were saying. I felt that you were a little bit skeptic about doing it, and you didn't understand why. But the stuff that I knew about your family, relationship with your mom, your sister, and obviously your medical issue, and the fact that you lived with a woman for 8 years and went back to the man, and all this stuff. Yeah, it's interesting, and I learned something new here today, and I know that the people listening, they learned something new as well.
Well, I think everyone's story is this is also a good lesson to people that are listening outside, that we all have some kind of story, and even Almar being my friend for many years, he heard things that he probably never thought or knew before. So let's not judge each other by the first impression and by what we think about people.
And I think what you were saying earlier when about discovering your sexuality and stuff like this, I think you made a really good point there that there is no guarantee that what we are and what we believe in and what we think today is going to be the same after a year or 2 or 3. I mean, if you think just this fucking COVID hysteria, if we could, no one would have imagined this, that we would have grown-up people sitting alone in their car driving with a mask in 2021, it's crazy. Anyway, guys, follow the show, subscribe to it, review it, go to the Facebook page, The Bunker, How the Hell Did We End Up Here, and like it so you never miss an episode announcement. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. That's the Midlife Crisis Warrior. And then the show has a page on Instagram also called The Bunker Prague. Thanks to the sponsors, Alfred Jobs, Alfred.cz, and the Oat Bar Prague. I think, Lucie, this was a good one. your throat is not necessarily made for a 2 hours podcast. So, but next time we'll make it shorter next time. Thanks for coming.